So a lot of you have seen that I've been posting so much about shadow work, and I wanted to dive deeper into it. If you have any questions that come up throughout this, feel free to leave them in the chat and I can dive a little bit deeper. So this shadow work journey has been a really interesting one. And one of the biggest things that I've been realizing, especially today, is how much I have negated the shadows for so long. And that's what we've been taught in our society as well, is to be in a space of numbing and not diving within ourselves and projecting and for blaming things on other people and all of these other things that are not within us. And we keep looking outside of ourselves. We keep pushing outside of ourselves. We keep deciding that everything is outside of ourselves, but really in truth, it's all within us. And everything that we experience in our reality is a complete mirror image of what we hold within ourselves. And come here, baby. The beautiful thing is that, come here. Whatever. The beautiful thing is that when we realize that everything is a mirror, it really gives us an opportunity to dive deeper into ourselves and to see what it is that we hold within ourselves that is being projected out. Because our subconscious mind is 95% of our reality. Our conscious mind is only 5%. So when we see our physical reality manifesting in a certain way and we don't necessarily know why, it's because there's something deeper and bigger within us that is asking to be healed. Or maybe you're seeing that your subconscious is changing so much and you're doing so much healing and your life is becoming brighter and your life is becoming better. And that's what happens when you get into a space of doing the inner work, and when you get into a space of diving within yourself, is you really do, the deeper that you dive within your shadows, the more light and the more beauty that you see within your reality. But it takes a lot of work. And I've been doing this shadow work for quite some time. I've been diving deep within myself. I've been doing all of this, but there are some deep shadows that I've been refusing to look at. Not even refusing, but just haven't come up. I haven't dove deep enough into myself for whatever it is to have that all come up and be expressed. So now this past week, oh my gosh, it's been so deep. I just started hysterically crying on the floor, and I have not really ever done that in my life, randomly cried. Like, for so long it took me, I would have to try to cry and then one tear would come out. And some of the worst things that ever happened to me, I never cried through. So now I'm in a space of releasing and in a space of letting go and cleansing and purging. But the shadow work, so activating this new moon. This new moon is super intense. It's so intense. And I've been feeling it. I've been feeling it so deeply. So instead of being a victim to this new moon, instead of being a victim and being like, oh, all of these shadows are going to come up, it's time to do shadow work, whatever, I'm like, okay, Kira, like we're going to harness these energies and we are going to dive in and experience whatever it is. So my deepest wounds have been my father wounds. The deepest wounds that I know currently. I'm sure that there are deeper ones, but there've been wounds that I've not been wanting myself to look into, wounds that I've kind of just ignored, and not in a way of conscious ignoring, but it just hasn't come to the surface. So now it's all coming to the surface based on some conversations that I've had with people, some people's projections, some people's observations. And it was really beautiful. Someone told me the other day, and this is what like activated so deeply all of this. Someone said to me, I know that you wish you had a better father in so many ways. And I have never, ever, ever consciously wished for a better father in any way. But subconsciously I did. Subconsciously I've wished that I had a father that was there for me. A father that didn't look at me like I was something to show off, but instead something to build a relationship with. And I wish that my dad was there for me, and I wished that my dad would have been someone who I could have loved and he's still alive, but this is like younger version of Kira. And through all of these father wounds coming up, a lot of relationship wounds have been coming up as well. because all of my relationships have been a reflection of that. And I've realized that a lot of my relationships haven't been with real men. Like, and it's been interesting because within myself, I've always had to be the one who's the strong support. I've always had to be the one with the answers. I've always had to be the healer. And this is what I've created for myself. Within myself, I've created the stance of being in that masculine space. So a lot of the people that I've invited in my life for relationships have not been that strong masculine figure because I never had that, and because I feel like I embody that so much within myself. So now I'm in a space where there is a strong masculine figure in my life, and it's actually triggering me so deeply because there is that part of me that wishes to be loved and wishes to be seen and wishes to be whole and wishes to just like have that support. And the feminine part of me is like ready to receive, but not in a way that is healthy and not in a way that is healing, but in a way that is further perpetuating the wound. So I see the way that this relationship is manifesting in a way where it's giving me space to really dive within myself and be like, how can I now step out of that masculine space? How can I be in this feminine energy? How can I receive? How can I express? How can I really allow myself to anchor in to everything that I know that I deserve, but not from a place of wounding, not from a place of what I didn't have before. So that's been a really, really, really potent part for me, because now I see where my feminine is so fucking hurt, so wounded, and it's allowing me the space to see the loops and to see what's happening in my mind and to see what is coming to the surface so that I can heal it. But it is super, super, super deep because I've not looked at this feminine part of myself for so long. So now I'm here in this space and I'm seeing it, and I'm seeing how hurt she is, and I'm seeing how deeply she wants love, but I have not loved her enough to allow that to be received as well. So now I'm in a space of loving her. And what happens in relationships is I see myself, in past relationships, I see myself getting like this. I see myself like having that neediness, that attachment. And what I'll do when I see that and when I feel myself getting into these loops is I'll detach. I'll completely pull myself out of the situation and be like, oh, this isn't healthy for me. I've got to go. Like, this doesn't work for me. But what the actual truth of that is that I don't need to detach. I don't need to be in a space where I feel like I need to beg someone for their time or their energy or anything along those lines. And I also don't need to be in a space where all of a sudden I'm just super detached and triggered by it and I'm like, okay, bye. But rather I need to be in a space held by the container that I've created of the relationship. It doesn't even matter about the other person in this current moment. The only thing that actually matters is this person keeps triggering me so that I can keep healing it. And what happened, it's not even that he's triggering me. It's that the things that he does are bringing up wounds within me. So what it's allowing me to do is to really not be on either end of the scale. And I've always said that I am 0 or 100. And I'm really learning to find that middle space and to live and dance and breathe within that middle space, because it's really powerful for me to sit within myself and be like, okay, Kira, how do we still hold the container of this? How do you love yourself? How do you allow someone to express themselves? How do you come from a conversation now? Because now there's a point where it's time for me to also have a conversation, a very healing conversation. And I know that it's going to be along the lines of like, hey, this is all of the work that I'm doing. And I'm doing 24 years of work in days. And it's deep. And I know why I have super highs and super lows. And I know why this is all happening. But it's important for me to also express this to him, because I do desire in any partnership that I'm with to have someone who is dedicated to both of our healing and dedicated to seeing the darkness. And if my shadows trigger someone, I want that to be a space where we can heal and where we can grow, and not a space where they're pulling back or where they're like, oh, I feel weird about this, but instead I want it to be a space where we can talk about it, where we can cultivate a deeper knowing of each other, and where we can dive into a space of really seeing each other for who we are and what we are in each present moment, for knowing that we are both on a healing path. I'm not in a space anymore, and I was for so long, but I'm not in a space anymore to be a victim to all of this. So when all of this comes up, I'm not in even if it does trigger me in a moment, even if it does put me in a space where I'm like very reactive and very emotional, what I do from there is I notice what's happening, and I notice how this is coming up, and I allow myself to sit within myself and to see how I can heal from that. So these are the conversations that I desire to have with a partner, as well as like, hey, I'm so sorry. I'll ho'oponopono you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. This is what I'm seeing within myself, and this is what I'm actively healing, and this is the inner work that I'm doing within myself so that I can transmute this. And I'm hoping that we can be in a space where we can grow together through this, and where we can both decide to be in a space of working through the triggers and working through the wounds, because the triggers are always going to come up. Always. And I do not want to negate that process by any means. What I desire to see is for us growing through that, and to be able to look at each other in all of our divinity and in all of our darkness, and see like, hey, I can love you in all of these spaces, and I can see the work that you're doing, and I can hold you in those shadows, and I can talk to you, and I can work through it all with you, and I can be in a space. And I'm not in a space of desiring to heal anyone. I'm in a space of healing myself, and of wanting to watch someone do that within themselves. And I want to be a catalyst for healing for others, which is huge, because I've always wanted to be the healer. I've always wanted to be the healer. And I always ended up in these relationships, other than like this year has actually been a very foundational, deep, intentional relationship year. But before this year, before 2020, I always ended up in these relationships where I was with people who didn't necessarily who didn't know themselves, and who didn't dive deep within themselves, and who didn't have a deep expression of themselves. So what happened with this, Highlandin, is that I would be in these relationships. I've got big goals. I've got big dreams. I know I'm going so far in this world, you guys. I see it so deeply. I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly what I'm experiencing. And I end up with these individuals, other than this year, I end up with individuals who don't know themselves, but who love me, and who see me, and who love my radiancy. And with that, what happens is they decide to adopt my dreams. They decide to be in my space and to take on whatever dreams I have. But what I've realized through that is that so many people are come into my life because they see my light and they want that within themselves, but instead of finding that within themselves, they allow themselves to take on my dreams, my goals, and I create a life not only for myself but for someone else. So instead of being in a space of co-creation with someone, what happens is I am the creator, I am the facilitator, I am the guide, I am the leader, I am doing all of the things, very, very masculine, right? All of those masculine things, but I'm not receiving as the feminine. So then I always end up in a space where I wake up and I'm like, what am I actually doing? Why am I not fulfilled in this relationship? And it's because I'm outputting so much, so much, and I'm not receiving that back. So now I've been in a super space of needing to be with someone who is as aware of themselves and as aware of their dreams and their goals and their ambitions and what they're creating and what they've got to work within themselves, what their healing looks like, all of that, so that we can come together cohesively to co-create. That is such a beautiful space for me to finally be in, because I have not allowed myself the gift of receiving that medicine from someone else, of literally having a conversation with someone and seeing that our goals are so aligned and being like, whoa, like this is pretty big. So instead of allowing instead of allowing my dreams to be other people's, now I'm in a space of allowing my dreams to co-create with someone else's dreams. And I know that there are so many people who have experienced this, where they've really been in relationships that never really served them, but then they end up having the children and the marriage and all of these things. And a lot of the reasons why these relationships don't work out is because no one ever sat down and said, hey, I need to look at myself. I need to see what I actually need in a relationship, and I need to see if you are providing that back to me. This should be an equal energy exchange on so many levels, so many levels. And it's beautiful. One of the emojis that me and my new partner use is a circle, because we just free flow energy through and to each other. And it's so simple, and it's so beautiful, and it's so energetic, because it is an equal energy exchange, and we're both in a space of growing and healing and expanding and seeing our visions come to light. And it's beautiful because I've done a lot of my own work in this space of calling in. And honestly, I don't really spend time calling in relationships because they just come, but I've called in a lot of business relationships that I'm calling in. And of course, I look at my list. I can go get it if you guys want to see it, but I look at my list and I'm like, oh my gosh, you are an embodiment of all of this, because partnership to me is partnership on all levels. It's partnership within business, it's partnership within the relationship, it's partnership within healing, within tantra, within your divine expression, within how we experience this life. Like, it is full circle in so many different ways, and it allows us the space to really grow with someone, and to not be a catalyst for someone else's growth, but to be a catalyst for your own growth by seeing that divine reflection that someone else provides you. And hold on, I'm gonna read these comments and drink some water. Drink some water, you guys. The energies are super intense. Whew. Goodness. So if you guys have like questions or other things that you want me to like touch on this, I definitely can. But I'm also realizing that in relationships, I haven't really set firm boundaries. And this is because of the feminine within me that's needed to be loved. I haven't felt that I'm worthy of really being like, this is what I need. So even in this new one, there are some boundaries that I haven't expressed, and I've told him, I'm like, these are some of my boundaries, but like, I let them all go away for you. And now I'm like, no, Kira, you cannot do that. You cannot sacrifice what you need in all of these spaces just because you desire love from someone. And that so comes from the father wound, because I just wanted love from my father in so many different ways that I would negate all of the things that didn't really serve me, and I would take the one thing that super serves me, or like that even barely served me, and I would run with that. So now I'm in a space of this relationship and putting, like, creating the container and really putting boundaries in place and being like, this is Kira. This is me. This is how I need to be loved. This is how these are my boundaries. You have to be drinking kangen water. Like, it's such a big boundary for me. And he knows about the water, and he's very, 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 very intrigued about the water. And sees its place in his life as well, which is beautiful. But I just haven't created those boundaries and set that foundation and really been in a space of honoring myself. And I have set some boundaries, and I've also not honored some boundaries. Like, for the first few days, we would get together and all of a sudden, like, time would stop and we would be together for 9 hours watching the full moon, or sitting in a hammock, or laying in his tree weave in his home, and all of these things. And I wasn't honoring my own boundaries because I really love to receive love and I love to give love. My love language is physical touch and words of affirmation. So to be in a space where I can physically touch someone and feel their energy and feel that expression is so beautiful. So with that, I wasn't honoring my boundaries. I wasn't honoring what I needed to do in my business. I wasn't honoring what I needed to do for myself. I wasn't honoring my bedtime. Gosh, up until 4 o'clock in the morning on the Blue Ridge Parkway watching the full moon, that's a magical moment. And that's something that I will always take time out for. But to have it be a pattern does show a lack of self-love, because I feel like I need to receive love from someone else and that I can't set those boundaries. So it's been really interesting to experience this and navigate this. And we actually haven't really talked much or haven't really seen each other much over the past few days. And it's given me such beautiful time to see what needs to be healed. And, you know, there's a part of me, such a deep part of me that's like, why don't you love me? Why aren't you talking to me? Why aren't we talking? Why aren't we seeing each other? But I know, like, the deeper part of me knows that this is all such a big catalyst for healing. And even if we come together and we're like, hey, this isn't working, that's fine. And that's what I've needed to realize within myself, is there's this part of me that literally sees myself losing something, and I see it as losing a part of myself because I put so much into someone. But if I start a relationship and I set the boundaries and I create that container and I say what I need and I speak my truth and I do all of these things, then what happens is I don't lose myself in the relationship. And that's what I'm really learning through myself. Hold on. I am reading these comments. Okay. So basically what happened is this gentleman is incredible and very confident in himself and, like, knows himself on a lot of deep levels. So he's like into politics and wears his mask, which I don't care. I come from a place of unconditional love. Like, you can do whatever you want to do, as long as you're respecting my boundaries and as long as you're respecting me. So, I did not realize that the mask thing was such a big thing for him. So we went into a place and he got really angry about the fact that I wasn't wearing a mask. And instead of, like, ever having a conversation about it, because when we met in the curtain section of Tuesday Morning. So cute. Just, like, instant cosmic connection, instantly in a vortex for like half an hour. I wasn't wearing a mask. Duh. I mean, I will to certain places if they ask me to and things along those lines. I'm not disrespectful in a lot of those ways. And this is a lot that I haven't expressed on Instagram either about how I feel. So it's been like, this is big for me as well. And I know this is why I need to express this. But he would make comments about the whole mask thing, but he wouldn't actually be like, here, this is, like, significant to me for these reasons, and I would love it if we could talk about it, and if I could see, like, where you are. And I also wasn't expressing the way that I felt about it, because my opinion, not even just, like, what I know about the way that this earth works and the way that, like, the energetics of this planet and the other beings that are here are doing the work, it can be a lot for someone to receive. And I've been ridiculed for what I believe in for so long that I just, like, instantly turned off. So I know that there's a place within me that also created this as well. But instead of him having an open conversation with me and being like, hey, Kier, can we talk about how you feel about these things? And would go around and, like, make comments about me being a Trump supporter, which I don't necessarily support politics in any way, but I do know the energetics of what's happening. And I never said which way I stand in anything, because my view so supersedes the separation of politics. So, then he went off on this whole tangent for quite some time, kind of, like, lecturing me and saying that I was entitled and all of these things. And it was just his own triggers being projected out. He's such a beautiful, loving human being, but I started crying, and then I got angry, and then it turned into this whole entire thing. And I'm just seeing where I've been afraid to express my truth, and I've been I've been afraid that someone's not going to love me because of the things that I believe. So instead of me ever sitting him down and being like, this is what I believe, and this is what I know, and this is my truth, and you can take it or you can leave it, I just didn't say anything. And it created this opportunity for kind of like a blow up, right? And now I'm in a space where I'm like, oh shit, now I need to have like a deep conversation and like talk about aliens and talk about unity and talk about how this politics system actually works and talk about child trafficking and talk about all these things. And I'm just like, I'm ready to speak my truth, and I'm ready to be received in whatever way that I'm going to be received. And if someone doesn't appreciate what I believe in, or if someone, it doesn't even matter about appreciating, if someone can't respect me for what I believe in and what my truths are, especially when all I come from is a benevolent place. I'm not a being who is here to create any harm to others. I'm not here to project my truth onto others. Like, I'm doing so much healing work within myself so that I can be in the best place possible to just be fully in my benevolence and to be fully in my truth and fully in my purity. And I don't really work in a space of judgment. So for me, I don't even need someone to have the same beliefs as me and all of that, but I do need someone who respects that within me, and who wants to have conversations about it, and who wants to learn about the way that my brain works, and who wants to learn about all of the deeper wisdom that I have. And this man is in a lot of ways. We did Hape for the first time with him, and he's such a medicine man. He's like, this feels so familiar to me. And I'm like, yeah, because you've spent other lifetimes as a medicine man, and this lifetime as well, which is so beautiful. But I'm like, okay, so now I have fun sharing the plant medicine. I have fun sharing like unity consciousness and love consciousness. And I'm like, okay, Kira, you need to dive into the deeper parts of who you actually are and what you actually believe, so that someone can love you for that, not in spite of it. I don't want to be loved in spite of anything that I am. If someone can't love all parts of me, then I do not want to be a part of that. And that's so important for sex, for a sacred energy exchange as well. If someone can't love and appreciate all parts of you, then that is a big problem, because you're going to receive that energy back within yourself, and that's going to perpetuate the lack of self-love within yourself. But let me look at these comments again. Aw, you guys are so sweet. I love you all. So yeah, it's honesty and it's full disclosure of who I am. And if I'm sitting here and I'm not allowing myself to be seen for what I am, then that literally tells me that I don't love myself. And that tells me that there is love that needs to be given and love that needs to be provided. And I don't need that love from someone else to feel love within myself. And I feel like, I've been in so many relationships, and I've been with so many men, and I've done all of the things, and I've really allowed in so many different ways my triggers to be a part of my reality. But instead, I'm sitting in a space of taking my power back from that and allowing myself to heal from that. So even if this relationship doesn't bloom so beautifully or whatever, I mean, it already has, but even if it doesn't, the amount of healing that I've done within the past 6 days just from like these triggers is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. And it's not because of someone else at all. It's because of the work that I've done within myself and the worthiness that I know within myself, that I'm ready to do this work, and that I'm ready to love myself, and that I'm ready to stand fully in my truth and be in my divine feminine embodiment, and to create that structure for myself, and to hold this container within myself, and then to invite someone in who matches that. So I don't come from a place really within any relationship where I'm like, we need to be together because I love you and because there is so much magic here. My stance on all relationships is that they serve their purpose for however long that they do, and then they kind of move out of your life. I don't believe in forever. I don't believe in marriage, and the reason why I don't believe in marriage is because I didn't believe in marriage for some very wounded reasons for a very long time, but I don't really believe in marriage because I don't believe in attachment to any one soul. And that's not to say that I'm into polygamy or open relationships or anything along these lines, even though I'm open to experiencing so many different things. My main focus in any relationship is to build a foundation on the deepest, most unconditional love that I can before anything else is even a thought. So for me, I don't necessarily believe in marriage because of that idea of attachment and because of that idea of forever with someone. And we change and we evolve so much, and it's okay to evolve out of someone's life, and also to evolve out of someone's life with the knowing that, hey, we might come back together in some time. Like, there's no finite beginning or end. It just all flows and evolves the way that it does. And I accept that for what it is. I don't need to sit in this space of getting a ring and being like, I'm going to be with you for the rest of my life, because I don't even know who I am for the rest of my life. I don't know what I'm going to experience. I don't know what's happening tomorrow. Like, I literally barely know what's happening tomorrow, other than a few calls that I have. But I don't try to interject my own need for security into the divine will of how everything is going to work in this reality. My phone is about to die. Hold on. I will save this live. I will definitely save this live, and I'm going to put it on my... I've got 10% battery, but I need more water. Oh. So, around this time last year, I pulled all of my ribs out. Literally, it felt like I was being stabbed from front to back. It was so intense. And I know that the reason why I pulled all my ribs out was because there was so much heart chakra healing that needed to be done. And a lot of different heart things came into my life. And then I did combo on my heart chakra and passed out within the first moment. So there's been so much heart healing that I've been in. And my last partner, such a beautiful soul, we did a lot of heart healing together, and it allowed me to be in my space to love myself and to allow someone else to be loved. So actually, now that I'm doing all of this even deeper work, I feel it again. Like, I feel the pain in my ribs, and I feel the closing off of like my upper back and my middle back, like this whole heart space here on both sides. I feel it. And I know that this is a space for me to give love to. And there were parts of me over this past week that really wanted to close off and didn't want to express deeper and didn't want to see beyond everything. But I've been in this healing space enough to really see what comes on within myself and what I can heal within myself, and how certain triggers manifest in certain ways. So for me, now I feel this. And I'm probably definitely going to go get some body work, but I know that it's just an invitation. I don't need to pull my ribs out to know that I need to do some heart chakra work. And I know that the reason why they pulled out last time was because there was so much that I was resisting, so it just opened. And I feel like the fact that there's pain as well as also like closed in the back and then pain in the... and pain in the front, I feel like it means that it, like, there are wounds that need to be healed, and there are, there's just expansion and growth that needs to be done within myself. So it's been really beautiful, like, being in this space of growing and healing. I'm going to see what your comments say. You guys are so amazing. I love you so much. So, yeah. that's how I feel about a lot of things. And I'm really working on the art of detachment in a lot of different ways, and the art of like being in my own. And if I feel that I need love from someone else, or if I feel that I need validation from someone else, then to give that to myself first, and to allow myself to really grow and expand in so many ways within myself. And it's so interesting. Like, I remember my first relationship when I was 16, and him not texting me back, or and like me being like, what is he doing, and all these things. I mean, he cheated on me. He was not a good human being. Cheated on me with 3 women in one night, like all of these things. Lied about his dad dying. So like, not a good human being in that sense. And I really do hope that he's healed in a lot of ways, because he just had so much darkness within him. But I see all of that 8 years later remanifesting, like, oh, why aren't you texting me back? What? Like, who actually cares? We're both so busy. He's also an entrepreneur. Why aren't you texting me back? Why aren't you sending emojis like you normally do? Like, all of these, like, over analyzing things that I never even healed from my 16-year-old version of Kira. So now I'm in a space of healing that too, and it's so interesting to see it all remanifest, because I don't want to live in that space of 16-year-old Kira. Like, she... love her, love her, love her, love her so much, but damn, she was having a hard time. So it's just really interesting to re-experience all of this, and to to literally go through it again, and to heal the things that I refused to heal so long ago. And instead of perpetuating that, I'm breaking the cycles. And it's exhausting in a lot of different ways, and my dreams have been really crazy lately, and there's just so much that is coming through. And I've always used men as a way to feel validated within myself. So now all of that, like, needing to be validated within men, is coming to the surface, and I'm being asked to heal from it so big. And it's exhausting in the most beautiful of ways, but I literally see where little Kira is asking for so much love. So yeah, that's a lot of what I'm doing, and a lot of what I'm anchoring in, and really just calling in. Like, I wrote down a list of what I need in a relationship. If you guys want to hear it, I can read it. Because, like, I don't want to allow myself to compromise my own values for someone else anymore. And I've done that for so long. I've done that for family members. I've done that for friends. I've done that for partners. I've done that for work. I've done that in all of the ways. And it's just it's not even I can't anymore. I can't be in that space anymore. So I have to be in a space of just really being in my truth, and speaking it, and letting it be seen, and letting it be heard, and not being afraid of whatever comes from that. I'm like getting teary-eyed, because I'm like really, really in a space of letting Kira be Kira, without anyone's conditions, without anyone's judgments, without anyone's projections. Just literally letting myself be myself, and allowing love to come my way, where I'm appreciated and loved and respected and seen and cherished for all of that. And I don't have to be in a space where someone agrees with everything that I agree with, but I do need to be in a space where someone respects all of my wisdom and wants to learn from me. And I love learning from people. I love learning from those who are in my life, and seeing the way that they work, and being in a space of just receiving their wisdom. Like, that's my favorite thing. This man has done like everything ever, and I'm like, I love just learning all of the things that you've experienced and hearing your stories. And it brings me a lot of joy to be in that space where I can grow with someone, but I also need someone to have that same intention with me, because I've got so much wisdom. I've got so much wisdom within me. I've got so much that has yet to be tapped into. I've got so much that I'm aware of, and I don't want to feel like I'm stifled in that. And I've been stifling that within myself. and it's time for me to express that. So actually my Instagram page is about to change, not like super exponentially, but it just evolves with me. You guys could scroll down my Instagram page and see how I've evolved. It's been really interesting, even just in my formatting. And yeah, so my Instagram page is about to evolve, and my truth is evolving, and what I'm going to put out there is going to be evolving, and I am going to speak more about my truth, and I am going to talk more about all of the kangen water things, because my whole entire life is a living kangen water testimonial. And that's what happens when you start drinking the kangen water. Like, everything in your life becomes so elevated and so expanded. And that's why I'm able to be in this space of really learning to know and love myself, is because I have the kangen water to detox all the stuff that no longer serves me. And then I'm just sitting in a space of like wild receiving of all of that. And it's just been really, really beautiful. Let me check your comments. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Releasing X's is Mercury retrograde. Wow. You guys are amazing. Can we talk the release of X? I'm feeling this heavy. Yeah, the releasing of the X is big. Like, I've been releasing my first partner, like the most karmic partner I've ever had. I've been releasing him for 8 years. And I don't know if that work is done. I feel like the more that I love myself and the more that I come into myself, the more that I realize that I already know that none of these old people in my life are vibrational matches anymore. And there's not even a part of me that desires to go back to them. But there's a part of me that like taps into those memories and those feelings. But I realized that a lot of that wasn't love. A lot of that was very conditional love. A lot of that was love based on traumas that I've had in my own life. And just a perpetual cycle of that. So now I'm in a space of like, I don't really even think about exes that much. I've done a lot of cord cutting. I've done a lot of different things to heal that, because I'm growing exponentially. Like, honestly, I'm growing so exponentially that I really don't know. I genuinely don't know if someone can keep up with my growth. And that's huge. That's huge for me to even admit, because that allows me to be in a space of like, okay, everything is temporary. Everything is only a vibrational match for as long as it's a vibrational match. But I do desire to grow with someone and to be with someone who is on their own journey in a very catalytic way for themselves. So that's what I'm calling in, either with this partner or someone else. And whenever anything happens, I don't need love in my life. I actually do better on my own, because all of these triggers don't come to the surface and I don't have to look at them. Which I know is why this is happening. I do so much better alone, right? Better if we're actually like quantifying things. Damn, Kira. It's just a lot. There's so much. Let me see your comments and then I'm going to read my list. I love you guys so much. You guys are so cute. Thank you for being here with me. I am going to start doing more lives, and I'm going to have a live schedule and all of these things. I'm also releasing programs for people who join my kangen team as well. So there's like a lot of expansion, a lot of ways for you to see growth within yourself and all of this. So let me read this list to you. How much? Okay. I've got 2% battery. So I'm not even going to read this list. I'm going to end this now, and I'm going to try to save it before my phone dies. I love you all. Actually, hold on. I'm just going to plug myself in because I do want to read you guys this list. I feel like it's significant. Ugh. Okay. Okay. So, this list, what I need in a relationship. These are my non-negotiables. So someone who isn't afraid of the darkness, mine or theirs. Divine expression always, in whatever way that looks like. Clear lines of communication, allowing ourselves to communicate things right when they come up and not letting them be something that boils over in a way that's not healthy, not healing, not sustainable. Similar goals to heal humanity and to create healing spaces. My whole intention is to heal humanity and to heal far, far, far beyond humanity in every single dimension and realm, and just all beings everywhere. I want to be a facilitator for their healing and also creating healing spaces. So I know that there are going to be multiple conscious communities that I create across this planet. So I need someone who's like ready to do that and who that's their goal before they come into my life. I don't want someone who's like, oh, I can do it with you. On a spiritual journey of diving within. So a lot of people are on spiritual journeys and know so much about the spiritual world, but they don't do the work within themselves. And that is not anything that I can be a part of. I need someone who's like ready to dive within themselves. Can openly speak about their emotions, their triggers, and their fears. So someone who is really in a space to let themselves be seen on all levels. Has big, wild dreams. Like I said earlier, I need someone who already just sees the beauty and the magic of this life and knows that what they can accomplish. Loves to travel. I can't be with someone who doesn't travel, and not in a way of someone who just wants to travel with me and will travel with me, because I've been in those relationships. I want someone who loves to travel, knows how to travel, has fun traveling, loves the unknown that comes with all of it. Someone who's a medicine man, because I'm definitely... I've got so much to share with you guys. My YouTube channel is coming out soon, and I'm going to be making daily videos, more about like Kira and like healing and all of these other things. But, I've been tapping into my ancient ancestors' medicine wisdoms. I've been learning about cajoba, sweat lodges, Puerto Rican, Taino, full moon ritual, just like all of these things. It's beautiful. Open to teachings of 5D. So there are a lot of people who are aware of the spiritual stuff but haven't dove like deep into all of it. So I need someone who's like open to all of that. Accepting and loving of our differences. I don't need someone to be a reflection of me. I love having someone who is different than me in a lot of beautiful ways so that we can learn and grow with each other. Affectionate through touch and words. Him and I have the exact same love language, and it has catalyzed so much within myself, and I see that the love languages are so important because that's how I give and receive love, and I just love that someone can reciprocate exactly that. Desire to experience all aspects of life, all of them. Every single part of life, just really wants to experience everything that comes with this existence. Drinking kangen water, obviously. To be a high vibrational being, you have to be drinking the best water because we are water. So I need someone who's willing and able and ready and excited to drink kangen water. Someone who knows themselves enough to stand in their truth and enough to see who they are and what they want to be and where they're growing and all of that. Someone who's interested in doing deep healing together. Obviously, for many obvious reasons. Someone who has an entrepreneur mindset. I cannot work with someone, I cannot be in a relationship with someone who has to go to a job and doesn't see that they can create their own life, because I'm already creating my own life, and that just doesn't work. And then someone who has an abundance mindset. So someone who really, really, really sees that they can tap into infinite source and infinite abundance and experience all of that. So This necklace I got from a beautiful metaphysical shop in Costa Mesa, California. It is black kyanite with rainbow aura. The two sides are different too, which is fun. And then it has aquamarine, so it's very throat chakra activating, very watery, which is expression. I've expressed so much since I got this necklace. This necklace activated my divine feminine. And then my sun in Western is Sagittarius. My sun in Sky Astrology is Scorpio. So, that is all for now. I'm going to end this. I'm going to save this. I'm going to try to post it. And I'm sending you all so much love. Thank you for being here with me and for taking the time out of your day to receive these codes and to just share this space and to tap into all of this vibration. I love you all so much. If you have any questions, comments, any of those things, feel free to send me a message. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful day.